0864. Stations your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Ducks football.
Touchdown, Oregon. Byron Cardwell. That was quick.
Oregon's a brand that is national.
Pressure, steps up, goes down. Sack Brandon Dorless.
We're going to play premier programs year in and year out.
Way down for Thornton. He's got it. He's going to score. What a stop by Oregon's Noah Sewell. Oh, what a throw. What a catch. Terrence Ferguson.
We're not chasing anybody. We're trying to maximize ourselves. Our goal is to win every single game.
This is the Oregon Football Preseason Special, presented by Graduate Hotels on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon Ducks football.
It's like we never left. We are still here. Or you could say we're back. Joey Mack, Jorgie,
right.
the king of the flip-flops, right here, sitting beside us. I was not going to let that slip
Didn't
by.
even make
Hey,
it
you know what?
3
The camera's
sentences.
not even down.
Oh!
Look at that.
You're a whole lot more comfortable than we are. Welcome inside the Country Financial Studios. Here we are to start a new season. Oh, my gosh. And the build-up and the excitement of it. Every year, guys, it's no different. Every season, it's just the same. Can't wait to get this one going, huh?
I'll tell you what. I became a father a little more than a week ago. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
so
Yes.
cool.
But it was so funny getting ready for this show because Jordan Brenner and Jerry, you guys have been doing Duck Insider. I haven't been around the team quite as much, and I thought to myself this morning, like, okay, what did I miss? And then I thought back to myself a little bit further, and I went, you know what? 10, 15 years from now, you guys have experienced this. I'm now going to be able to look back and be like, kid, do you remember, like, the first time I went back to work was to do this show? And that's a pretty cool thing, you know?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a really
no.
cool thing that, like, something like this is what I get to go do every day.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I had that moment of sort of like, this is cool. It's a cool fatherhood moment. So I thought I'd share
I
that
get it. I
tonight.
mean, if given a choice, having another baby or doing this, I'd go have another baby. Well,
Yeah.
of course, my wife would. I wouldn't. But
By the way, congratulations to Mrs. McMurray
Thank
too,
you.
Lizzie.
Oh,
And yeah, I tell you what.
Yeah.
I mean, what a warrior
Oh, yeah.
she
It is
was,
so
and you guys
cool.
have been in
Gosh,
that type
that
of
is
deal.
so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, it is.
Oh,
But
man.
but there's a certain time of year that you just feel different.
Yeah.
And it's time for football. I mean,
Yeah,
it just
it is.
feels like it.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
And what a start, too. I mean, my gosh, going to jump right into it. Week 0, there are games this week. Kind of wish we were going to Ireland and playing a little football over there. But it is.
I do, too.
Yeah, it's our preseason specials brought to you by the Graduate, Eugene. And we're going to talk about this Oregon football team, both sides of the ball. We've got a lot of interviews for you. We're going to bring you up to date on everything that's transpired since the spring game through the summer months. And hopefully we don't leave anything behind. We only got an hour to do it. But there's a lot of excitement for this brand new coach and a gem of a coach too. I haven't been quite. I've really appreciated and loved working with all the coaches we've had through the years. There's something different and special about Dan Lanning that just makes you want to be around him and see what he's going to do.
You know what's been cool for me going back to signing day. So we did the big signing day special, right? Many of you probably watched it on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and we got to know all the coaches. Like, that was the first time I actually met a lot of them, right? So hearing what they were talking about on the signing day show and the team that they wanted to put together and build, then you get to know them a little bit more throughout the spring. You get a feeling for what the culture is going to be. Now suddenly it's like, oh, it's here, right? Like, this is the culture that they're trying to build. We'll talk about that. And I thought, guys, even today, like a quick practice update from today, seeing Phil Knight at practice today and watching the team react to his post-practice comments. Yeah, stuff like that's pretty cool. And that's the kind of culture, and that's what's special about being at Oregon, that those sorts of things are going on.
Yeah, well, what Dan Lanning and this young staff has been able to accomplish in such a short period of time, that's what's amazing to me. And the family atmosphere, the way that the players, the student athletes have responded, it's really pretty amazing, and it's exciting. And boy, what a what a young staff for me to look at anyway. Joey, it's different for you, but it's interesting through time seeing that. And yet there's just something I'm really excited about with this staff, Jerry. I think you said it perfectly. It's just different. It's just different, and refreshingly different.
Well, it gives you they have the sense of a veteran staff that really aren't that veteran. I mean, they all haven't been around a long time. We're not talking about 25 and 30 years of football. We're talking about guys who have been successful at a very young age. And by the way, how many times have people asked me, and you, Joyce, how's fall camp? What are you seeing? How are they doing? The answer every year is the same. I don't know. We're playing against ourselves. Defense against offense, we see some good things from day to day. Defense wins, the next day offense wins. Until you play that first ball game, you really don't know what you have. Other than to say there have been years when we're like, I don't know, it's going to be a little tough. Not much depth, this position depth. I don't see any weaknesses this year. Huh?
It's so hard to tell. You just don't know. But it's a big test in week 1,
boys.
Yeah. And this has happened, and you guys can speak to this better than I can. This has happened for Oregon a few times, right, where you get a big marquee game to open the season. Mm-hmm. And personally, I love that. As someone who wants to see those high-level football games, I love the fact that Oregon's opening with Georgia. And I know it's a neutral site game.
No, it's not.
It's not. Atlanta is in the state of Georgia. It's not a neutral site game. But I think that what I do love, though, guys, is that this is a program that even before Dan Lanning became the head coach, and what a storyline, right? The defensive coordinator for the defending national champion just so happens to become a head coach at the team that team is then going to play to start the next season. But I think a lot about the fact that this game was scheduled years ago, right? Years ago. And that's kudos to Rob Mullins. That's kudos to all the previous coaches here at Oregon that have said, we want to put that game on the schedule. I love it. I love that they're doing that. And I will say, guys, I think a sneaky great game on the schedule is BYU. I know we'll preview the schedule a little bit more. I'm so excited for that game at Autzen Stadium.
Yeah, there's a handful of them that we need to get through, the whole season. But I like the idea of Georgia opening the season with a marquee game. I just like putting our best foot forward because Georgia hadn't seen us play, and certainly they don't know what Oregon's going to do because Stan Lanning's Oregon's coach now, and they think they know what he's going to do, but do they really know what he's going to do? And then they're thinking, well, he knows what we're going to do, but does he really know what we're going to do? I mean, this is a perfect scenario.
It is. And you think about the strength of that Georgia team last year. I mean, offensively very good. Defense is where the strength was, and the amount of players off that Georgia defense that were drafted into the NFL that Dan Lanning was coaching. I mean, they've got a little bit of a rebuild process going on over there. But at the same time, Jerry, I think you put it perfectly in relation to Dan Lanning and his staff. Young, but it just feels like they're experienced, like they've done a lot. And again, big games too. When you talk about Dan Lanning and the games that he's coached and what he understands, and Oregon has played in these big opening season games before, which is actually, I think, really good recently too, which is really important.
Yeah, I think that it gives you sort of an idea of what like a postseason game feels like to me. You go to these games, and I think about that a lot. Like that is an experience that student athletes love, right? And you want to have that sort of experience come postseason. I do want to say, I know the first game of the year is a big one. I'm excited to be back at Autzen Stadium. And talking about, you said refreshing. Have you been in the Mo, Georgie?
Oh, man. I've looked in at what I've walked by it.
Oh, my goodness, guys.
Deep in the woods.
The Mashofsky Center is going to be such a sight to behold for fans. Get a chance to see it in person. Football's back at Autzen Stadium, and I do want to say a lot of people have already started asking, even though that first game is on the road, there's all the details on GoDucks.com about game day shuttles and parking, and the Mashofsky Center is going to be open a little bit different this year, a little more, let's just say, things to do in the Mashofsky Center with that new paint job. And I mean, it's pretty awesome, guys. If you get the chance to see it, I encourage you to take a peek in when you get the opportunity.
It's a different experience. You'll feel it. You walk in there
something?
And you feel it. I mean, that look makes it look like it's very bright and airy. It's kind of cavey.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Hey, we got a lot to do. A lot of players, a lot of coaches to hear from. We're going to take a look through the schedule. A lot more coming up here on the hour. It's a preseason special presented by Graduate Eugene. We're going to take the break, come back, and get into some of our comments from our players, some new ones and some old ones, as well as our new coaching staff. We're going to do it after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Located a hop away from Autzen Stadium, Graduate Eugene is the perfect place for Oregon football fans. Stop by the hotel's signature restaurant, Trophy Room, for delicious food and drinks with a nostalgic twist. If you're looking for a little pregame family fun, rent one of our immersive Topgolf swing suites. Graduate Eugene, the smartest place to stay for Duck fans.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
This is the Oregon Football Preseason Special presented by Graduate Hotels on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, you know recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. Jerry Allen, Jorge, and Joy, the three J's back together again. Our preseason special is presented by Graduate, huh?
Feels good.
Yeah, this is just, well, like I said, I don't feel like we really ever left. We had a guest, a youngster who showed up at practice today. We'd like to have the kids come in, and well, there he is. Got the hat on, the glasses. Looks remarkably like Phil Knight.
Yeah, it's striking. Just an uncanny likeness.
The players just lit up with him around. They just were really thrilled to see him there. I mean, he cares so much, and they know that. They get that. And so they had someone the opportunity to shake his hand and say hi, and then he addressed the team at the end of practice.
You and I heard his post-practice, I'll call it a speech.
Yeah.
I'd run through a wall for him.
Oh,
he's still got it.
Oh, yeah, he definitely – there's no doubt about it. Phil Knight, thank you so much for being who you are for us in the Duck. Well, let's get to some interviews. Scrimmages are done. Both of them are in the books. We are actually probably moving into game prep as this weekend, no scrimmages, get ready for football. And Coach Lanning talked about that second scrimmage.
Yeah, the second scrimmage, and so I thought it was interesting that, normally in fall camp in the past it's been 3 scrimmages, and the third one would be this upcoming weekend, and it would be like, okay, this is evaluation time. This is when the depth chart really starts to get set. It sounds like, though, that's already happening, right? And so, thoughts on that second scrimmage? Coach Lanning had a few.
I thought our guys were really physical today, and that to me was really pleasing. It was to the point where you want to get live tackling and live scrimmage work in, and halfway through I said to myself, okay, do we need to go thud mode here, because we're striking each other, we're getting after it, and I thought that was something I was really pleased with, was the physicality of play.
That's what you want to hear, right, Jorgie?
It is, yeah. You want guys, I mean, I know they're tired of beating against each other, okay? I know they are, but at the same time, that's exactly what you want, and the type of game they're going to be playing game one, physicality.
It's interesting, too, when they go in shells or what they call spiders, and practice is physical, but they don't go to the ground. They can't wait for full pads.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny. We're going to hear from Coach Clem coming up later on. he was like, yeah, pads don't matter for the offensive line. But things change a little bit, right? I mean, when it's not thud mode, things definitely change a little bit. Well, continuing with some of the thoughts from Coach Lanning, one of the things that stuck out to me, and I feel like he has said this maybe 3-4 times now, but he's like, age doesn't really matter, you know, and especially with a new coaching staff, guys. One of the things I was really curious about is how many young guys will play. Are there guys that have been on the roster that sort of break through with the new coaching staff? And, you know, Coach Lanning, he doesn't really care how old you are. He just cares how good you are.
One thing I've always said is if you're good enough, you're old enough, right? I don't really care if a kid's a freshman or a senior, right? We want the players that are good on the field. And if there's 35 guys on offense that can impact us and make us a good team on offense, then I want to use all 35 of them. I don't want to be there playing with 11 guys and, you know what, the 30th guy is good enough to make an impact for us in some way, and we're not doing that.
I thought that was really interesting. You know, age – with the age of recruiting and with how successful recruiting has been at Oregon and over the last few years, probably expect to see a few young guys out there.
Yeah, I mean, with the talent level of what you see, you know, coming in at various universities and here at the University of Oregon, and guys that are really ready-made to play from a body standpoint, and oftentimes it's just a matter of how quickly they absorb the offense, the defense, or special teams. Some do it more quickly than others, but, you know, if you're playing at a level that has earned you playing time, you're going to get it in this system, and you really should, I think, in any system. But at the same time, with Dan Lanning and his crew, absolutely, that's what it's going to be.
Kind of a generational thing, though. 20 years ago, age did make a difference.
It did, yeah.
Mentally and physically, youngsters weren't ready, but these days they prepare themselves physically and mentally to be able to play at 18 or 19 years old.
You know, I think it's interesting. Redshirting still has its benefits in every sport, right? Like
no doubt.
You mature a little bit, but when you're getting guys that are at that caliber, well, they're going to play.
Somebody's going to say, but this guy's going to start and he has no experience. Somebody said, I have no idea who it was, greatness has to start sometime. So some players who have never started end up going to the NFL, but they didn't have the experience when they had their first play.
Jerry Allen at 7:16 p.m. on August 24th,
wasn't me.
2022, said that.
One of the greatest quotes ever.
Oh, yeah. Just right up there with some that are on that bulletin board outside.
There's something,
something
else here.
You know, I also, guys, thought, too, that it was really interesting, and I mentioned this at the start of the show, like, you heard what they wanted to implement, right, in terms of a culture and how the team was going to operate. We saw it in the spring. Now we're kind of living it, if you will, in the fall. And this was really interesting. This is from Media Day. So Coach Lanning got asked a question sort of like, you know, what gets you up for coaching? You know, like, why do you get up for coaching? Why do you want to be a head coach? First time he's ever gotten a chance to be a head coach. I thought his answer to the why do you do what you do question, and this has kind of become a theme for the team, like, what's your why? And in fact, on Media Day as well, Braden Swinson was sitting here actually in this chair, and he interviewed Jeffrey Bassa. And he asked, what's your why? Like, why do you do this? And why do you sacrifice? Why do you do these things? It's become kind of, I think, one of the talking points of the team. And I thought Coach Lanning's answer to that question was phenomenal.
I always wanted to coach the highest level of football. I feel really blessed and fortunate to be here. But I just love the game. Like, I love football to another level. And my why really shifted, you know, looking back to when I first got to Memphis. You know, everything at that point was really advancing my career, moving up, looking for the next opportunity to go coach the best of the best. And once I got to Memphis, my wife got diagnosed with cancer, and it really reshaped my entire why. You know, I want to be a guy that helps people, right? We're not here just to have championship football players. We're here to create championship fathers, championship husbands. How do you do that? You model it every day. I want our guys to be able to look at our coaches, which I know they can, and say, wow, that's a real man, right? And I want them to know what it means to be a real man. But within that, we're going to have fun on the football field. I'm the guy that loves to go to practice. You know, if we could practice year-round, some of our players might not enjoy that. I'd love it, right? I love being on the grass. There's not a part of my job that's more fun than coaching football and being out there on the field.
Have you guys ever heard a coach say that he doesn't love practice?
No.
See? Like,
no.
They all love practice. But I joke, but I thought that was honestly, though, just a tremendous answer to that question. Like, why do you do what you do?
Well, there's a man who's coaching a bunch of young men about football, how to play football, but obviously he understands how much more important life is.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
The balance of that is so important. But, man, he does love football, and so do we.
That's right. Isn't it amazing how it brings everybody together?
Yeah.
It really does. Well, on that culture front, one other thing, as you've kind of heard already, we're playing you like the greatest hits of fall camp so far, right? Like some of the best things that everybody has said. Coach Lanning had, I thought, one of the better stories of what this culture is about. And this is like a coach's dream right here.
Yeah, I've always felt like, your best teams are what I would call player-led teams. And I won't go into details about what it's about, but I walk into a team meeting the other day and Taki's in the front of the room, Brian Addison's in the front of the room, and they're talking to the team about the things that we got to do better. The coaches aren't in the room. So I think that speaks to the character of the players on our team when they're having those conversations without us in there.
He's special. I mean, he just when you're going to get a chance to his fans to watch him operate on the sideline. You see him in interviews and you've heard him talk, but he's so young. Jorgie, I think you said that, but he's a national champion, and he brings it to Oregon. So we're going to hear more from him. I get a little excited when I watch him and his staff on the football field because they're so meticulous about everything they do. Well, we're gonna take a break here and come back with our preseason specials presented by Graduate Eugene, and catch you a little update on a coach that. Been through a whole lot here early, but we got great news to report. We'll tell you all about that when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Now's the time to visit your local Toyota dealer and find yourself in a stylish and fuel-saving RAV4, Corolla, or Camry. Or climb behind the wheel of the rugged Tundra, Tacoma, and more. Toyota's national sales event is on. Toyota, let's go places.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Now's the time to visit your local Toyota dealer and find yourself in a stylish and fuel-saving RAV4, Corolla, or Camry. Or climb behind the wheel of the rugged Tundra, Tacoma, and more. Toyota's national sales event is on. Toyota, let's go places.
Ducks football lives here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
We're back inside the Country Financial Studio. It's a preseason special presented by Graduate Eugene. Joey. We're
Radio audience.
We're usually sitting around a different way, but back doing it again, and doesn't feel like we ever even left. This is what's so cool about this job and that's what football is all year long. Football used to be from the first week or so of August, and it would end on the bowl game, and then we'd have about 30 days in April, and then we'd do nothing until August again. Football is 12 months out of the year.
Is it ever?
It's full-time job.
I think most sports have evolved to be that way.
I agree.
In more ways than one. But I think it feels that way more so for fans because of the focus on recruiting. I feel like there's always something that fans can keep up with, which makes it fun. Yeah. And then I will say when you get to these shows that we do and you get to the new season, it's like, oh, this is what we've been waiting for. It kind of adds to the build-up, I think, doesn't it?
No doubt about it. Well, earlier this spring, one of our coaches, Don Johnson, had some problems, illness. It struck, and it didn't look good for a while. But he battled, and he's coming back strong. Don Johnson, who's the Director of Player Personnel and Recruiting, is not back with us yet, but he's getting close. And it was so cool to watch the players respond to the positiveness of him getting better and trying to get back to join the team.
You know what? Don Johnson always has been a guy that always just bring great energy, and he just always was always bring a good light to the facility. And I'm just glad to see that he's doing good in his recovery and everything. And, you know, I feel like Don Johnson always has a home here in Oregon because it's the way he presents himself and the way everybody just loves him. So, you know what? Don Johnson, man, I can't wait to see him back over here in the facility again because we miss him.
Every player.
Yeah, that was Justin Flo, and man, I'll tell you that watching him go through the rehab a little bit on social media, seeing his positive energy, it's been awesome for everybody around these parts. And you know, we talked with him on the signing day special, and it was fascinating for me to hear so many different coaches, student athletes reference him for keeping this recruiting class together. And I feel like, man, maybe we can't say that enough. How much behind the scenes, you hear more about the coaches going out and recruiting, but how much behind the scenes he meant to this team. And you heard it in Justin Flo's voice there, man. He means a lot to this program.
Oh, new coach again. So many recruits across the nation going, okay, what's going on out there? Can we trust? Right. Don Johnson gained their trust.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, and not only trust, from a glue standpoint, that held things together, and then a presence, a consistent presence with everything that he's gone through, the presence that he's had with his football team and the connection that it just never broke. That's what's so neat about it. And, you know, the comeback that he's making, man, we are waving the flag here for him. I'll tell you that. So that's cool.
No doubt.
That was tough, but he's coming back, and that's a great story.
Betcha.
But tragedy struck this year, obviously, and all the Duck family knows about Spencer Webb and how tough that was. There are no words for it. No words for it. But you keep putting one foot in front of the other, and Coach Manager in his tight end room talked about the tight ends, that special group who were brothers of Spencer Webb.
And they've been there for me too. They say, hey, Coach, you doing good? You doing all right? And, and it's like, it's a little tougher day than others, But so I'm very, very thankful for those kids. I couldn't imagine going through something like that without that group. That group from top to bottom is absolutely incredible as people. I know what they are in the field, but they're awesome people, and so people I'm extremely thankful and prayerful about.
But the team's already together. They're already a brotherhood. But when something like that happens, Jorgie, it just melts you all together even tighter.
Oh, no doubt about that. And what's neat about it too, Jerry, is I had a grandson who played flag football out here this summer, and to see the tight ends so heavily involved with kids, just like he was. And that's what's so neat about it, is that whole group was so tight with Coach Merringer and that type of deal that he'll never go away. Spencer Webb is always going to be part of that group, and they will be part of him.
Bennett Williams wearing number 4. Yeah. I think that's going to take on, certainly as he's talked about, a whole new meaning for him this season. So I think throughout the entire year, there's going to be a lot of references to how this season's really, in honor of Spencer Webb. And I really, guys, thought that the celebration of life for Spencer Webb was really something special. That's the fact that so many people got a chance to share how much his life meant and he impacted, and maybe he didn't even realize how much he impacted lives. It's pretty cool to be thinking about him over the course of this entire season.
Yeah, and we definitely will do that. Let's move along and talk about this football team now. We're going to go special teams, going to go offense, and we'll go defense. We'll start with the offensive preview or special teams preview. And by the way, this is brought to you by Graduate Eugene. Special teams, we got a kicker, and everybody knows it. Camden Lewis. I mean, they haven't named starters yet. We don't have a depth chart yet, but, it was kind of his job to lose, and I don't think he did.
Yeah, Mr. Consistency. Yeah. And what's been so neat about Camden Lewis, too, just to be able to see the way the guy has grown. I mean, frankly, just seeing him this fall and going, man, he looks like he's 4 years older than he was last year, And it's just, but that all comes with the maturity of obviously the work that he's put in, the success that he's had, the way that he has gelled with the team and them with him, the big kicks that he's made and continues to make. It's just neat to have a guy like that back that you can really count on.
I was just going to say the maturity, I feel like the way he carries himself as a leader for this team, not just in special teams, but for the team in general, that to me is a big reason why he feels more mature and he feels like a starter. Well, earlier in camp a couple weeks ago, he was actually talking about how this coaching staff with Coach Lorig, Joe Lorig's a special teams coordinator, they really focus on special teams. I thought it was interesting hearing him talk about how much of a focus it is for the Ducks.
Yeah, Coach Lorig knows what he's doing. We're working every phase. We're getting it in. It looks like, there's special teams every few, I don't know how to describe it, every few bits of practice we'll have it integrated in some way. We'll throw field goals into some team situations. I assume we'll even probably start punting here soon in team situations. But yeah, even the first few minutes of practice, the practice you guys get to see, that first 5 minutes every day, we're working skills for returners, just ball skills, because that's so important. And one thing we always talk about is owning the ball and just keep maintaining possession. You can't do that unless you practice.
So earlier in camp, and he was already like, "This is a focus," and especially I remember Coach Osborne saying this one time, and I never forgot it, that you only ever hear from the special teams coordinator after a game if something went really, really right or went really, really wrong.
That's right.
It's
like
either
a long
a game,
snapper.
Yeah, it's either a game-winning field goal or it's, oh man, something really did not go well. And I feel like that's where it is so important to focus on it. It's not just offense, defense. There's a third element to the game, and it's an important one.
I remember Camden Lewis's first year, and I remember watching him practice, and I distinctly remember when he would miss a field goal in practice, he would be, hang the head, okay, give me another chance. He missed a shot today. It was a deep one. It was probably around 48, 49 yards, but he missed a shot, head up, no problem, turned around. They set it up again, and he booted it through. It's maturity and leadership that he's grown into, so there's that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Should we jump to the offensive side of the ball in a moment?
That's up to you.
I'm going to talk about who's quarterback. Well, he's the guy lined up behind the center. That's all we know right now. We'll find out more about the offense when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Couldn't help yourself.
Hey, Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
All right, Pepsi-loving football fans, it's time we had a lesson in trash talk. And I'm not talking about that stuff that happens on the field. What I'm talking about is trash, and it's the only thing that belongs in your garbage can. Now, recycling might not be as thrilling as converting a 4th and long, but next time you're thinking about throwing that Pepsi Zero Sugar bottle away, just cap it back up and pretend you're down by 6 with the recycling bin wide open. Know the difference? Make a difference. Be a team player and recycle. Visit PepsiTrashTalk.com to learn more.
You're listening to the Oregon Football Preseason Special, presented by Graduate Hotels on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside our Country Financial Studios. It's our offensive preview, and it's brought to you by Graduate. Offensive preview and the Graduate. Now you can start your game day off right. It'd be a night there, and then get to the game late. Wish I could do that. Handcrafted hotel at heart of downtown. Whether you're in town for a big game or a local duck looking for a pre-tailgate grub, Graduate Eugene, the smartest place to stay for Oregon football fans. I think we should do that. I think as a team, we should spend the night there before a game.
Like the team does, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Like and then get, all right. We need to work on that. All right, let's talk about the offense. Offensive line all back. Skill positions deep. I mean, this is an offense that on paper, when you look at it, you go, wow, a lot of experience.
I thought you were going to tell people who was going to play quarterback.
I am. It's the guy behind the center. He's about 4 or 5 yards back.
I want everybody to know that I tried.
Don't you dare throw that flag. No. Hey, we're not even going to, well, they haven't announced it yet.
That's right. That's right. Well, one thing, though, the latest update, last time that Kenny Dillingham, offensive coordinator, talked with the media, he actually said that he wanted him to play a little bit quicker. I thought that was interesting. Still wants that tempo, wants to go fast, wants to get guys in space, explosive plays. Coach Dillingham, they still want to get better.
I want to improve on our tempo. We're not playing at a very fast pace right now. It's not really who we are, but we got to play a little bit faster is something that I would like to see. I'd like to see us take care of the football more with the ball in our hands. I think we're a little bit too loose with the ball, so I want to see ball security, and I want to see it play with a little better tempo.
All right, so there's still things to work on, and that's going to be the case, right? Fall camp, not quite over yet. All right, we joke. Quarterback battle, though, it's been a good one. Going to hear from a few of them. Bo Nix, everybody kind of wondered when he was hitting the transfer portal, where's he going to go? And, well, of course, he got asked the big question, why'd you pick Oregon?
When I was evaluating my options, Oregon was really the number one the whole entire time, because when you look at Oregon, you ask yourself, why not Oregon? The brand of Oregon, the O itself, signifies so much in college football. Year in and year out, they have a chance to be in the top 4 of the country, and that's what I wanted to be a part of. I wanted to be able to have the chance to play in the playoff, and I know that with my skill set, I know I could contribute. And so with the guys that we have here, obviously we're loaded, so I'm excited to be a part of that.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Oregon. I thought that was a great answer.
Yeah.
So I also want to play, this is also for Media Day. I wanted to play this interaction between Bo Nix and a reporter who was asking questions. So you'll hear the reporter kind of asking the question a little bit off mic, but I thought that his answer to this said a lot about the guy he is and the type of competitor that Bo Nix is.
Because this is an open battle at quarterback, there's obviously a scenario where you could potentially not win the job. Have you thought about that and what that would be like and what that would mean?
No, I have not.
And why?
Why would you think about failure?
Answer. Great answer.
That's a great. Why would you think about failure?
Yeah, I loved that interaction.
No hesitation.
No.
Yeah, I thought that said a lot about the guy that he is and the kind of competitor that he is. And, so we also have seen as Duck fans Ty Thompson play in an Oregon uniform. Saw Bo Nix play against Oregon in a different uniform. Ty Thompson, he certainly had some things to work on, and he talked about where he grew this past offseason.
Well, the most I've grown this summer, I feel like, in my independent film study and the training that I've done away from the school and the program, in the off season, I feel like I've grown with my accuracy, and then with the film, I feel like I've grown with my decision making.
And then Jay Butterfield, of course, competing for the spot as well. And I think, guys, it's safe to say that Jay Butterfield, big arm. We've seen that a few different times in practice and scrimmages, and I'm excited to see where this quarterback battle goes, guys. I think 3 good options.
I don't see really a weakness in any of those 3. I mean, sometimes you get your starter, then you go, well, I hope he doesn't go down because we're in trouble if he does. Not situation here.
No, it's nice to see the level that high between 3 guys.
Yeah.
Because when you have that type of level competing against each other week in and week out, day in and day out, it just makes everybody better, and that's what's been so neat about it.
Continuing with the offense, the wide receiver room. It's a deep one, I think, guys. I think it might be one of the deeper spots on the roster, the wide receiver, and especially when you infuse talent that's got some, shall we say, green and yellow blood in his veins. You add a coda to that room. I think people pretty excited when he transferred in. He talked about that opportunity that's in front of him with some of the older wide receivers from last year's team moving on.
After last year, it's like the top 3 guys are all gone, so having those shoes to fill with a bunch of really good guys now, I think there's a lot of excitement. All the younger guys had to, sit on the bench last year just because there was really good seniors, and older guys, they're just really excited, and right now it's pretty wide open, so, we don't know who's going to start day 1 yet, so we'll see how it goes.
How many times will we and fans call him Chad?
That's right. Yeah.
I've been
Scott
working
Phillips
on
did it earlier today.
Yeah, no, it's hard not to.
Yeah,
and he
it's
looks
amazing.
like Chad.
Yeah.
But that's a deep position group, and I think, he really brings something to the
Well, you got 8 or
receivers.
9 guys in that position group that, that you feel really good about. Last year's leading receiver was your running back, Travis Dye. That's not going to be a situation this year. A wide receiver or a tight end or several are going to be at the top. I can't wait. But he's a possession. If you got a 3rd down and 2 or 3 and you need a 1st down, Chase Cota's the guy that's going to get it.
Yeah, I just love the mix of the group, frankly. The young and the old, and I mean old being Chase Cota, thinking that he's the old guy in the group, but at the same time, just the mix of height, speed.
Big receivers.
Yeah, big receivers, experienced receivers, a couple, 2 or 3 receivers that really came on at the end of last year, that did not graduate and are back again, are young guys. I just really like the combination of these guys. I think that this guy's the limit for the group.
So wide receivers, and I think that maybe one of the biggest keys to this season is going to be the tight ends. I feel like there's a lot of depth in that room. I feel like they are probably going to be playing with a little extra chip on their shoulder for their teammate and their brother in Spencer Webb. I think that Terrence Ferguson, I thought it was really interesting hearing him talk about transitioning from wide receiver. He played that a lot as a wide receiver in high school, playing more traditional tight end, and just where he's grown. We saw, guys, the skill catching the ball. Now I think he's taken that next step as a tight end that has to do so many more things, Terrence Ferguson.
There's a lot of things because, like you said, I came from just being a straight X receiver, I'd say. And so there's been a lot of blocking things, learning the front. I never knew anything really about the front and who we're IDing, what the combos are going to. And so even this year, I've been growing more, like where I can ID the front and I know where each block is going, not just my block, just everybody on the O-line's block. So every day I feel like I'm learning something new.
I've said this before. I think that the tight end is probably the position that has changed the most in the last 15, 20 years. Fair comparison?
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can remember not too many years ago when the tight end position for Oregon was a key receiver. Get the ball to the big guy over the middle and let him ramble. And then the Ducks had to play against some teams like at Stanford, UCLA, who had the big, rangy tight ends.
Yeah, sure.
But it's coming back.
Sure. I think tight end's going to be a real key. Running back. So there's some depth there. There's some guys that I think have some things to prove and some guys that have big numbers at other universities already. Physicality, though, is what running back coach Carlos Laughlin is looking for. Fans, you'll like what he had to say earlier in camp.
It ain't gonna never sound like I want to hear. I'm old school. I'm from Montgomery, Alabama, so ain't gonna never sound like that. So I want to be even a little bit more physical. My boys, they gonna always say the word physicality. They know I lean on that. We can get better. I'm always gonna tell them we're gonna get better.
Can always get better.
People asking me who the running back's going to be. Well, we know here's Byron Cardwell, played in all 14 games last year. A name you're going to hear a lot, Noah Whittington. He just is fun to watch. Marquise Irving played 12 games at Minnesota last year, 700 yards, 5 yards a carry, 4 touchdowns. He also returned punts. He is exciting. Sean Dollars is back. I mean, there's a list that they're going to be able to call on, and then behind that with a quarterback, whoever that's going to be.
Freshman Jordan James too. I think
Jordy
Jordy
like
just
him
got
too.
him. Yeah,
like him
he's
too.
fun to watch play. Well, lastly on the offensive line, Adrian Clem, new offensive line coach, associate head coach for the Ducks. I thought this was kind of fun. So this was from earlier in camp. And this is what I was referencing a little while ago. He gets asked, well, does it really change much when you put pads on? Well, not so much for the offensive linemen.
We're overworked and underappreciated. It's just offensive line, even when we don't have pads on, guys are throwing hands and all that. You tell them to calm down, but both sides of the ball are competitive and, in close quarters and, just an aggressive group. And sometimes when it gets a little bit hot and everything, things get turned up because they get a little frustrated. And just it's more about trying to dial it down.
Have to dial it down a little bit in practice. Jordy loves it.
Oh, man. Was it Zoomer used to call his guys the big uglies?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Niels and
that.
Bukas.
Yeah. Well, they got a bunch. They got depth at offensive line, running back. I mean, that offense to me looks really gelled, set, and ready to go. A lot of experience, and if experience counts for something, it's It's going to be an interesting year. We haven't even got to the defense yet. That's coming up next. Our defensive preview is going to be brought to you by Dairy Mart and Lockmead Family, local stops for fresh-to-go lunch, thirst-quenching drinks, and award-winning ice cream. We're going to come back and talk some more Ducks and hear from some more Ducks and coaches after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Located a hop away from Autzen Stadium, Graduate Eugene is the perfect place for Oregon football fans. Stop by the hotel's signature restaurant, Trophy Room, for delicious food and drinks with a nostalgic twist. If you're looking for a little pregame family fun, rent one of our immersive Topgolf swing suites. Graduate Eugene, the smartest place to stay for Duck fans.
Once a Duck, always a Duck. That's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has been the credit union serving the University of Oregon community. With remarkable checking, My OCCU mobile banking, and nationwide ATM access. If you're a Duck, you belong at OCCU, where you'll find fewer fees, higher savings rates, and lower rates on loans. And lots of fellow Duck fans. Go Ducks. Join OCCU. Learn more at myoccu.org/remarkable.
Back to the action in 60 seconds on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Ready for our little forest adventure?
Yes! So much waiting for me. Yeah, I wanna go outside. I wanna be.
We're here.
Whoa, that was fast.
There's a forest closer than you think. Find a park or forest near you and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by USDA Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome back with the three guys. Joey, Georgie, I'm Jerry Allen. We're going to go through the defense now, and thanks again to our preseason special sponsor, Graduate Eugene. And now we're going to go defensive side, and I want to get right into it. I just want to mention Noah Sewell, Justin Floyd. Everybody's going, those two guys. Yeah, pick your poison. How about Mace Funa? Let's go Jeffrey Bassa. And there's a Dorless kid in there somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah, he's pretty good. Brandon Dorless has been called by a few different coaches now the most underappreciated defensive player in the conference.
I've heard that several times.
And I feel like there's a reason for that. He is pretty darn good. He was asked earlier this camp about what's Coach Lanning's defense like. What's he excited about for this defense? Brandon Dorless.
See, I think this is why Coach Lanning's defense is so amazing, because when you go back to the film, you see everybody on the film is involved in his defense. So when the linebackers are taking on the double teams and everything, that's when the D-lines have opportunities to make all the plays. And I think that's why these guys are so excited to play in this defense, because it's just fun, because it's not just the linebackers. It's all about it's everybody in the front. Everybody's involved. So I think that's the best part of this defense is it's not about one guy. It's about everybody.
I'm excited to watch. You hear guys say the word like fly around, that phrase a lot. I feel like that's a good description for what Coach Lanning wants the guys to do.
Yeah. I got to tell you, with Brandon Dorless, I mean, the amount of times Jerry and I had the opposing radio crew come up to us and say, we know last year, we know Thibodeau's good, but the Dorless guy is the guy that we want to see make it work. He's amazing. The defense just playing as such a good, cohesive group right now under a great head coach and defensive coordinator and the rest of the position coaches.
Talking about the defensive coordinator, Tosh Lupoy, last time he talked with the media during camp, a little bit of an update on where he thinks the defense is at.
Seeing our group overall and their commitment to being elite competitors, we got a bunch of guys that are committing to be mentally and physically tough. And what I'm starting to see over here after a few weeks now is the leadership start to rise, and that's awesome, because we need that, and we see it through individuals and specific units where leadership starts to rise and people are really reacting to that.
That's what you like to hear from Tosh Lupoy. Okay, so you mentioned Noah Sewell, Justin Flo, the combo that we've been waiting to see play together for a while. I think that Noah Sewell might be just as excited, if not more excited, than we all are.
I can't wait. Just I pray he stays healthy. I pray he stays healthy because he could do some crazy things on the field that I've never seen before. His motor is top tier. His energy is just. I wish you guys could like switch cleats and be on the field with Justin Flo. Justin Flo will make the play.
No, can you feel the intensity? And they each make each other better. Because if you're worried about this guy, then this guy's going to take your head off, and vice versa. Yeah. And then there's Dorless in there, and Mace Funica. Like I said, pick your poison.
Got to stay healthy though. Right?
Yeah,
that's part of the deal for both of them. They play so darn hard.
Yeah, they do.
You got to definitely stay healthy. Hey, you mentioned Jeffrey Bossa earlier. I think that Jeffrey Bossa may end up being one of the more valuable guys because of his versatility. We've heard a lot of times the coaches have referenced how, for example, it's not just a safety or a cornerback or a nickel, it's a defensive back. Well, Jeffrey Bossa is a guy that could really play, I don't know, Jorgie, 4, 5 different positions on the field probably at this rate?
Yeah,
he's played safety, he's played linebacker.
I mean, the ability for him to play the amount of games and snaps that he played last year, the fruits are going to come, it's just amazing the way it's going to work out this year. He's a tremendous player. It's a very deep linebacker group that I like at that position. But Jeffrey Bossa, just because of the different things he can play and that he has played, is going to be a huge plus for this defense.
On that note, Jeffrey Bossa, I think versatility is a key.
I like to say I'm a Swiss Army knife, really. So, whatever packages, them coaches install for the week or the opponent or, in practice and they want to try something out new, you know what I mean? You can put me in. I feel like you can put me in, very different spots and stuff like that, and I'll be able to get the job done.
I feel like that's a guy you want him on the field.
Yeah. Well, there's another guy I like seeing on the field, but last time I saw him as a tight end making a tackle in the end zone, and it was like, that was a year ago. Remember that at Ohio State, DJ Johnson?
Yeah. Wow. It's just amazing. Some of the different guys on that side of the ball. A lot of opportunity there on the defensive side. I can't wait to watch him play.
Well, what I'm excited about with DJ Johnson, and he was asked earlier about playing on just one side of the ball, right? It really has, I think, allowed him to come in to that defensive end position and that edge position he's going to play. DJ Johnson playing just defense.
It's just exciting just to know, like something. Daily practice is harder than games a lot of times. So, like when you play both sides, I'm practicing both sides. A lot more reps compared to the game reps. So, to be on one side of the ball and only focus on that one side just helps you play faster because you're thinking less.
There you go.
And his position too. I think that's his natural position.
More of a natural. I mean, he was a great tight end, but he's got a motor for defense and just a gut instinct to play that edge at defensive end. Well, that's our defensive preview. We got more. We're going to wrap up with Coach Lanning, I think, or what are we going to do next?
Well, Justin Flo had a great quote about playing Georgia. So we got that coming up.
Oh, okay.
And then Coach Lanning actually gave us a little bit of a peek toward maybe some guys that could be breakout stars this year.
Some new names we're going to hear about. All right, quick break. Come back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container, because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
To your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A Teenager. Learning the Lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back into Country Financial Studios. I want to thank the Graduate, Eugene, for helping us with the show tonight, being our presenting sponsor as well as our offense. And then, of course, Derry Mart, Lockmead family on our defensive preview. We didn't touch on the back end of the defense.
True.
Corners, safeties.
Like the group.
Yeah, I like the group, too. I mean, we got to develop some depth in some areas, but some names. There's one name comes from Colorado, outstanding corner, and it really boosted Oregon's numbers back there.
Yeah, Christian Gonzalez, I think, is the real deal. I talked with him in the studio a couple weeks ago, and I said, hey, you're an all-conference honorable mention. He said, well, I'd like to be better than that. I think he is better than that.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a really good player. I think Bennett Williams is really the leader of that group. Can play a lot of different positions. I think versatility, Jorgie, is what sticks out to me with a lot of these defensive backs.
Yeah, I mean, you end up with quite a few. From a standpoint of you want to build the depth at corner and at safety. There's no doubt about it. But when you've got 8 or 9 guys that can move to different positions, even though you'd rather have them play a consistent position all the time, when you've got 8 or 9 guys that can play some big-time football, have played some big-time football, that always helps, and I think this defense is going to benefit from it.
Yeah, it's going to help the back end, the front seven.
Yep.
I mean, that's
no doubt.
That's a big deal. That's a big
I think
deal.
they're pretty legit. We were talking before about breakout players. Everyone wants to know, who's going to be the guy that we're not talking about? Well, we may not have an answer to that question yet, but I thought that Coach Lanning earlier, kind of a similar with if you're old enough, you're good enough, he knows that someone's going to have to step up along the way.
There's somebody that right now everyone might feel like is buried in our depth that's going to be playing for us at the end of the season. That's just the way it works every year. So for us, it's how many guys on the roster can we get better, and we want to get as many reps in as possible there.
I love the fact that that's the culture of this team. It breeds competition, doesn't it?
Yeah, and there's guys there, and they're going to have to be ready. That's at a moment's notice. You can be in the game just like that. So that's why you got to practice hard, know what you're supposed to do, be ready on the sideline, because just like that, you could be in.
This is like a movie script coming up. We haven't talked about the opponent yet. I mentioned all Georgia. I mean, it's a movie script. You got the defensive coordinator who has a championship ring on his finger from the team that won the championship. And by the way, now he's going to go out and join a team of the West Coast called the Oregon Ducks. What a great – oh, by the way, the first team they're going to play is his team, Georgia. It's just it's like a movie, isn't it?
It really is cool. And there's so many storylines to talk about. And I thought this is a great way to kind of close the show hearing from one of the guys that everyone's excited to see, Justin Flo. Hear from him again. He was asked, what's it going to take? What's it going to take to beat these guys?
Georgia has a certain picture about themselves, and I feel like if we bring a certain energy more than them, it's going to be, sky's the limit. So that's what I'm trying to say. If we just want it more than Georgia and we just want it more than everybody else that we play against, and we bring the energy that proves that we want more than everybody, I feel like the sky's the limit for us, because who can stop us?
I love the confidence, one, but two, I think it speaks to the talent level on this roster, right? They do feel like they can compete and go win a top 20 game like this. That's what you like to hear.
Any team in the top 15 or 20 teams in the nation play anybody, and they can win. I mean, there's no real favorite. Georgia's got some things to overcome. Lost a lot of defensive players, a few offensive players that they got to replace, much like the Ducks do in some areas. It's just a great matchup, and it's just a little more than a week away. We got it all for you right here. We got a first coaches show next week.
That's right. Yeah, Coach Lanning probably going to join us next Wednesday, 7 o'clock. That's here, guys. It's officially here. We're traveling out on Thursday to Atlanta, and then kicking off 12:30. 10:30 pregame show. Terry John's back. He's here, by the way, everybody. He's back, anchoring the pregame show. What did we miss? Anything?
No.
I don't think so.
In the Dome.
That's it. In the Dome. Second meeting between Oregon, Georgia. Georgia won the first meeting.
Interesting.
1977, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
1977.
Interesting that our Marcus Mariota is playing for the Atlanta Falcons now. That's kind of neat, isn't it?
Playing for the Atlanta Falcons, but he's going to be the honorary captain for the Ducks.
Great stuff.
At the game.
We got to get him
really
upstairs.
cool.
If we don't get him
That's
upstairs,
cool.
you got to get him on the field.
I will try. I will.
All right.
I will do my best.
All right. Duck Insider here every day, 1 o'clock. And then, of course, next Wednesday night, our first coaches show. It'll be Joey and Jorgie and Jerry. He's going out to Atlanta early to get it all set for us. Fans, thanks for being a part of the show tonight. Here we go! Let's play some football. Bye-bye. God bless.
This has been the Oregon Football Preseason Special, presented by Graduate Hotels on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. The Dan Lanning era begins Saturday, September 3rd as Oregon faces defending national champions Georgia in Atlanta. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.